Welcome everyone to lesson 17 of HTML and CSS. My name is Ryan, and in this lesson we're going to be looking at CSS colors. So we'll take a bit of a break from HTML and do some CSS for a change. So I have here a HTML document with a heading and a paragraph, and that's what it looks like, very basic. And what I want to do now is add a bit of presentation. So I insert a link tag into my head section. Remember, the link tag does not have a closing tag. It's a tag that links to an external document. In this case, we're linking to lesson17.css. So I need to create a new file in the same folder called lesson17.css. And here I can define some cascading style sheet rules, presentation layer. So to begin, we add a selector. In this case, I'm saying select the heading, the main heading, H1, and apply some rules to that heading. Now when working with color, there are two different colors we could change. The foreground color, which we set by using the color property, or the background color, which we set by using the background dash color property. Now, note the spelling of the word color is the American spelling. Don't get confused with that. Okay, now there are three different ways to name a color in CSS. I'll give you an example. One way would be to say red. That's the name of the color. Another way would be to use the hexadecimal system, RGB system. So that would be FF0000. And the last way would be to use the decimal system, which we do by saying RGB 255.0,0. Okay. The first method is very easy. It's just naming the color. And I'm sure any one of you could do that quite happily. So let's start with the first method, and then I'll come back to these other two methods just now. I'm just going to comment that out so it doesn't interfere with the rest of my code. So here we should get a foreground color of red and a background color of green. Okay. If we go to this website, w3.org, it's the World Wide Web Consortium. Remember, the official standards body for web-related technology. So go to w3.org/tr/css3-color. It's quite a long page that explains various aspects of color in CSS. If you go to the table of contents, you'll see extended color keywords, which will jump you down to this point within the page. And here there's about 150 different colors that you could use in your document. Next to each color is the name of the color, plus the hex code, plus the decimal code. So you could use either one of these three systems to display the color. The problem with this system of naming colors is that there are a limited number of colors that you could name. In reality, most monitors will support up to 16 million colors. And so 150 colors compared to 16 million colors is like a drop in the ocean. So in other words, we really do need to learn one of these two systems here, either the hexadecimal system or the decimal system. And the advantage of these two systems is that we can mix color together, the primary colors. Okay, before we look at these two systems, let's do one or two examples using some of the names of the colors. So if I want this color, sea green, I'll just use that, sea green. I'm just going to copy and paste. and I'll set the background to sea green. So you can see the background's changed. Just for fun, let me change the background of the entire document. So we do that by creating another rule, another selector called body. Remember that in the HTML, the body is the entire visible area of the document. So by creating a rule for body and setting the background color, that should affect the entire viewable area of the page. Let's pick something interesting. How about spring green? So we got sea green and we got spring green. Okay. So yes, if you want to, you can make use of these names. But as I said before, you're then limiting yourself to about 150 different colors, when in reality you could get up to 16 million colors. Okay, so how does this work? Well, we can mix the three primary colors together. So on a web browser, the primary colors are red, green, and blue. That's on any computer monitor. You may be familiar with some other primary color systems if you're used to art, working with paint, or maybe you in the print industry and you use the CMYK system. That won't work on a web browser. You need to use the RGB system or the red, green, blue system, because these are the three primary colors for any kind of TV or monitor. Okay, so to mix the colors together, we just have a separate number for each color. So the first two digits are for red, the middle two digits are for green, and the last two digits are for blue. That's for the second system. The last system, same story. First number is for red, middle number is for green, and the last number is for blue. And each number can go from 0 to 255 maximum. That's using the decimal system. That's the system we all very familiar with. But another way of doing numbering is to use the hexadecimal system, which is numbered from 00 to FF. So FF is actually the equivalent to 255 as we know it, but using hexadecimal. So this is the hexadecimal system. Okay, decimal means 10, hexadecimal means 16. So to count in hexadecimal, we would go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F. So F being your very last number. So if you're counting in 2 digits, you would go 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, all the way up to 0, 9. After 0, 9, you would go 0A, 0B, 0C, 0D, 0E, 0F, and then you'd go back to 1 again, but this time 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, and so on, up to 1, 9, and then 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E, 1F, and then 2, 0, 2, 1, and so on. So it's a new mindset, especially for those of you that have never worked with hexadecimal before. These numbers can look rather strange. So if you see something like EA, that is a perfectly valid number. After EA would be EB, and then EC, and so on. And the maximum you could get with 2 digits would be FF, which if you convert back to decimal is 255. So either way, whether you use hexadecimal or whether you use decimal, you'll end up with 2 255 possibilities per color. So here you can see we have full red, we have no green, and we have no blue. So that gives us red. Same thing here, we have maximum red, no green, and no blue. You can then start doing interesting things like mixing colors together. So FFFF00 would be red and green mixed together, which funny enough produces yellow on a computer monitor. Let's have a look at this. I'm going to change the background color. Now instead of using the name of the color, I'm using the hexadecimal code. Remember to always begin with a hash and then do your 6-digit code. Okay, let me get rid of that. And there's our yellow. Let's try something slightly different. In this example, I'm mixing red. There's no green and blue. There's full blue. So I'm mixing red and blue together. So that should be some sort of purple color. There we go. Okay, so you could come to this W3 web page and just copy the code that you like. For example, if you like dark khaki, just copy the code and paste it in your document, and you should then get that same dark khaki color. Another way you can get the codes for colors is to use a graphic program like GIMP. GIMP is my favorite graphic tool simply because it's free of charge, platform independent, runs on Mac, Windows and Linux, and it's very easy to use. If you've already got something like Photoshop, feel free to use that, or Fireworks or Corel Draw. There are many different photo editing packages, but what they have in common with each other is they have these two blocks of color, a black block and a white block. The black block always represents your foreground and the white block represents your background color. And you can just click once on either the foreground or the background color, and it will bring up a color palette where you can choose your main shade of color, and then by moving your mouse through the block you can choose another shade of color. This will vary from graphic program to graphic program, but pretty much all of them have an ability to choose a shade of color. So when you've found the color that you like, let's say I like this purplish color, you'll note here under HTML notation there is a 6-digit hex code which you can just copy and paste. So instead of trying to come up with this code by yourself, simply open up Photoshop or GIMP, whichever package you like, choose your color palette, choose the color that you like, and copy and paste the code. So now we should get the same purplish color that we selected from our photo editing software. Let's do one more example. Let's choose this kind of olive green. Note the code over here, copy it, and this time I'm going to set the foreground color of the paragraph. So we'll say color. Don't forget the hash. This is very, very important. Most of these packages, when you copy and paste, they won't have the hash. There's no hash here, so you're going to have to add that yourself. Alright, let's see now what happens. Can you see the paragraph has changed to that kind of olive green color? And the good news is, if you really, really don't like this hexadecimal system, you can go back to using the decimal system. I'll give you an example of this. So instead of hash and a 6-digit code, you'd say RGB, remember red, green, blue, open round brackets, and then you need three numbers between 0 and 255. One for red, one for green, one for blue. They're comma separated. So if I want blue, I would go 0, 0, 255. And that should give me blue. Okay, once again, you can use your graphic tool, Photoshop or GIMP. Click on your foreground color to open up your palette. Find the color that you really like. Here is the hex methodology, but now we want to use the RGB system. So here is red, green and blue, and you'll notice a number from 0 to 255 in each of these boxes. So all you've got to do now is get this number correct. So it's 138, 244 and 200. 138, 244 and 200. First number is for red, the middle number is for green, and the last number is for blue. We're mixing those three primary colors together, and we should land up with the exact color we selected from our graphic software. And this ends our lesson in adding color to our document using cascading style sheets.